open grave for all he cared, but he held a soft spot for Terrace. "Fine," he said, thudding his head against the thick wood of the door. "You owe me, bud." He left the main path and walked the worn dirt track around the mansion. Compared to their first home in Veldaren, it wasn't nearly as large, but it housed over 50 members of the family, plus guards and servants. Torgar spotted a couple hiding behind a tree, no doubt a guard and a maidservant having themselves a good time. He resumed singing to startle them, and grinned while imagining their surprise. Their lack of reaction left him disappointed. Worse, something about it felt wrong, and he looked back just before turning a corner. Neither was moving. "Gods damn it," he muttered, trying to think through his pounding head. "Asleep, right? Just asleep." He went to check them anyway. Slumped against the tree, with their bodies positioned in a mocking embrace, were two guards, their throats slit, their armor soaked with blood. Torgar stared at them for a full 3 seconds as the alcohol in his brain gave way to his many years of training. He grabbed one of their swords and then checked his immediate surroundings, in case the killer lurked nearby. When he saw no one, he hurried toward the back door. So far, no alarm had been raised. Otherwise, the guard at the gate would have known. The bodies were warm, blood still dripping from their wounds. Whoever this killer was, he wasn't far. The ground seemed vacant enough, so he looked to the rooftops, desperately wishing he hadn't drunk so much. He saw several shadows that might have been men hiding, but with his headache it was impossible to know whether his mind was playing tricks. No time, he decided. Raise the alarm. Get every guard armed and scouring the place. He was in no position to play hero. The servant door was locked, and he pulled out the key from a chain around his neck. As he inserted it and turned, he felt the hairs on his neck stand up. One of the shadows. "Shit!" he cried, flinging himself back. A dark shape descended, blade in hand. Torgar blocked with his sword just in time. Before he could react further, his opponent landed on top of him, elbows and knees ramming his face and chest. Collapsing onto his back, Torgar rolled, narrowly avoiding a stab to his throat. He continued rolling and did the only thing that seemed logical. He hollered his brains out. "Killer!" he screamed. "There's a killer out here! Wake the fuck up!" He pulled out of his roll and onto one knee as his opponent's sword came slashing in. He tried to parry it and was only partly successful. Blood splashed across his vision as the edge tore through his face. He spun from the force, landing on his stomach. Teeth clenched. He waited for the killing blow to land. It never did. Looking back, he saw the door was open, his key still in the lock. "You left me alive?" Torgar asked, struggling to his feet, his free hand clutching his face. "Big mistake, you bastard. I'll make you pay." He felt warm blood spilling across his fingers and mouth. A huge gash across the bridge of his nose was bleeding heavily, and he wondered if he'd pass out before the night was done. Cursing, he cut off a large portion of his shirt and pressed it to the wound. It hurt like blazes, but it was the best he could do for now. Sword held high, he rushed into the mansion. The hallway was mostly dark, with only small oil lanterns burning at the various intersections. He had no clue who this assassin was targeting, but Torgar knew who paid his wages, and that man belonged at the top of the list to protect. Hooking a right, he headed for Laurie and Madeline's room. He tried shouting for help, but it hurt his nose too much. His eyes watered, hampering his already blurred vision. Several times he rammed into a wall, adding more bruises to his aching body. All throughout, he heard cries from the guards. Most were tracking positions, calling out all clears. But every few moments, they let out frightened shouts, if not death screams. Reaching Laurie's room, he felt hope at seeing the door closed. He kicked it open and barged in, only to have something hard and blunt strike the back of his head. Torgar dropped to his stomach, and he vomited uncontrollably. "Damn it," Torgar said, glaring at Laurie standing to the side of the door, dagger in hand. His wife sat on the bed, also holding a blade. "I thought you were the intruder," Laurie said, offering his hand. Torgar ignored it, instead using the wall to brace himself as he stood.